is CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Lauren Pastrana, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Right off the top, a SWAT situation in a Miami Gardens neighborhood. CBS News Miami's Peter Dench is on the scene with what investigators have to say.
There was a lot of police activity here all morning as the scene remains sealed off. A Miami-Dade police special response team was called in to help. The focus was on a home here in Miami Gardens on Northwest 209th Terrace at 28th Avenue. While several Miami-Dade police units were here, the lead agency is Miami Police. 4 people who were detained in handcuffs have been released. They did not want to speak to us. It is not known at this point if anyone has been arrested. Miami police say they are only able to release limited information. They were not able to give a lot of detail on why they were here. They said they were serving warrants in regard to ongoing investigations. We are working on this story to find out more information. We'll have much more on the story coming up at 5. In Miami Gardens, Peter Dench, CBS News, Miami.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
And taking a live look outside right now, more showers and storms today, but that's going to change by tomorrow. Next Weather meteorologist Cindy Fessler lets us know why the change. Cindy.
Drier air is coming back to South Florida starting tomorrow and into Thursday, so I think we'll have 2 days where we won't see this kind of widespread showers and storms. So today, even the beaches have not seen that much. It's been a little bit further inland. You can see how the outflow boundaries are trying to pull everything now to the south and east. That's going to be the case for the rest of this afternoon into the early evening, so this will become fewer and farther between. We still have some pretty good rain. There's some lightning still showing up here, mainly over the Everglades. You go west of Chrome Avenue, west of 27, that's where you're getting the heavier rain. Some showers and maybe some storms around Homestead at this point. This is how much, at least estimated, radar amounts of rain. Look at this, a spot here over 4 inches of rain. And again, this is all to the west of where we have any population here, out here in the Everglades. So we didn't see any flood advisories today. Most of this has just fallen basically over the swamp areas. Drier air at the mid-levels trying to work its way in. That's going to stick with us Wednesday and Thursday. So I don't think our thunderstorm activity is going to be nearly as much as we have seen. So let's take a look at the moisture tracker here. Lots of moisture today, but look how this kind of backs off by Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday, and by Friday, now we're starting to see some moisture coming in from the south and east. That's that tropical system. It's a wave right now. What's going to happen with this? That remains to be seen, but it does potentially bring a lot of moisture into South Florida. Looks like this weekend is going to be the time to really pay attention. Other than that, these showers and storms will die out for tonight. Mainly dry, just a few storms tomorrow, and again, they'll be moving from southeast to northwest with that southerly southeasterly flow, so we can expect that for the next couple of days, and then into this weekend, that's where things start to change. Tracking the tropics at this point, we've been watching this wave still sitting out here in the Atlantic, expected to move to the north and west. Now, this is the blob area, we call this. Now a 60% chance that this could develop into something. Looks like this weekend will be the time. That's when we're going to be tracking this. If it does bring something, likely it's just going to be rain here. But again, we'll have to see. Something we're watching now. We're going to be watching that the next few days in the tropics at this point. So temperatures stay in the lower 90s. Rain chances go up by this weekend, about a 60% chance.
Cindy, thank you. Protests and anger in Venezuela after Nicolás Maduro is declared the winner of Sunday's presidential election there. According to 2 non-governmental organizations, at least 4 people were killed during Monday's protests and dozens have been arrested. Here in South Florida, the Independent Venezuelan American Citizens group is vowing to recognize Edmundo Gonzalez as the president-elect. CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor reports.
And the Independent Venezuelan American Citizens are also calling on a general strike in Venezuela. They're basically urging any businesses or people who conduct business with a South American country to join on a strike as a means of support to those that have been demonstrating, protesting against the government of Nicolás Maduro. And this organization is also hoping that this will cause a ripple effect in Cuba as well as in Nicaragua. So let's take you now to some of the video of the press conference that happened earlier today. It occurred at the Assembly of the Cuban Resistance, which is a South American organization that called for this press conference for what they consider a pivotal moment for Venezuela and the Venezuelan American community in South Florida. And while the message for the international community is to recognize the victory of Venezuela's presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez, reiterating that he beat Nicolás Maduro's government 70% votes versus 30%, President Maduro continues upholding that he won, and this is what has caused a massive protest in the country. The message now is to take a step further.
All the unions must get together and stop the whole country, because finally this government is really tumbling, and I think it's a matter of hours, maybe days, for them to leave the country.
There was revealed back in 22 in the midterms. They revealed that I was a target, Mario Diaz-Balart, Maria Elvira Salazar were targets of misinformation and disinformation campaign in order to remove us or to influence people not to vote for us, etc. So I would assume that since our stance against the Cuban regime hasn't changed one bit, that we're back on that list, and they're going to try to do everything in their power to have somebody else in that seat, because they know that we are enemies of the regime. We will continue to fight for the freedom of Cuba, the freedom of Venezuela, the freedom of Nicaragua. And so, you know, what the Cuban regime will do everything in their power to try to remove us from office.
Coming up at 5 p.m., we'll have the first images of another protest taking place in Venezuela, and we will also talk to a Venezuelan American who flew back to Caracas to vote, and he also participated in one of those protests. That'll be at 5 p.m. on CBS News, Miami. We are in Doral. Ivan Taylor, back to you.
A man accused of shooting a 4-year-old boy in southwest Miami-Dade appeared in court. The judge ordered Christopher Steven Del Carpio Cabezudo to be held on no bond and to stay away from the child. Police say his face was scraped and bruised while resisting arrest. Miami-Dade police say he was fighting with another man Saturday night when he fired a weapon and bullets went into the home of 4-year-old Dylan Suarez. His mother says he was grazed on the left side by his ribs. Acting Secret Service Ronald Rowe was called to Capitol Hill to answer questions about the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Some new evidence came to light during the Senate hearing, but lawmakers also expressed lots of frustration over what they perceive as a lack of answers and accountability. CBS News Miami's Skylar Henry has more details from Capitol Hill.
Senators grilled Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe for several hours in an at times contentious hearing about security failures leading up to the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
I acknowledge this was a failure of the Secret Service. Is it not prima facie that somebody has failed? A former president was shot. Sir, this could have been our Texas school book depository. I have lost sleep over that for the last 17 days, just like you have. Somebody.
FBI Deputy Director Paula Bate testified local police had been following the suspicious person, later identified as gunman Thomas Crooks, for up to 90 minutes prior to the shooting, and spotted him again on a rooftop with a gun 30 seconds before he opened fire.
It appears that that information was stuck or siloed in that state and local channel.
While the shooter's motive remains unknown, the FBI says it found a social media account that belonged to Crooks that included comments that were anti-Semitic, anti-immigration, and called for political violence.
If it is in fact the shooter that posted these comments, it's the first real indication where he's expressing what are described as extremist views and talking about political violence.
Some Republican senators pushed the Secret Service head about reports the agency turned down protection requests from the Trump campaign.
I believe that the Secret Service leadership made a political decision to deny these requests.
Senator, what I will tell you is that Secret Service agents are not political.
The Senate committees say they have more questions and want to talk to agents who were on the ground the day of the shooting. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Commission met this morning. Commissioners joined together at the Amerant Bank Arena in Sunrise. They discussed the new Florida threat management model, as well as the role of mental health providers in threat management and improving communication with law enforcement and threat management teams. Vice President Kamala Harris campaigns in the battleground state of Georgia as speculation intensifies about who will be her running mate. Harris is expected to make her choice in the next week ahead of the Democratic National Convention, which begins August 19th. CBS News Miami's Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
Vice President Harris has been battle-tested.
Considered a top contender to be Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is auditioning while campaigning in his home state against former President Donald Trump.
The chaos that he injected into our lives, we don't want to go back to that, gang. We don't want to go back to that.
Also in the running, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, a former Navy combat pilot and astronaut, as well as Michigan Senator Gary Peters, a favorite of organized labor. The VP prospects representing key battleground states.
Vice President Harris has a lot of great candidates to look at, and we respect the process.
Monday, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper crossed himself off the list, partly out of concern with internal politics in his state. The Harris campaign has said she's looking for someone with the experience to step into the job and be effective on day one.
They are creating an anti-family and anti-child society.
Former President Trump defended his own VP pick, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, Monday for his past controversial comments about people without children.
He's not against anything, but he loves family.
Trump is set to return to the battleground state of Pennsylvania Wednesday for the first time since the attempted assassination earlier this month. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
When we come back, Miami Beach unveils a new plan to curb homelessness in the city, what the city is saying about its compassionate outreach, and why not everyone is a fan. Welcome back to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. This afternoon, relief may be on the way for people experiencing homelessness in Miami Beach. City leaders have announced a summer initiative starting Thursday. Outreach, including healthcare teams, nonprofits, city staff, and volunteers, plan to hand out water while urging people to accept help and room at shelters. People who refuse face potential arrest.
Public spaces are for the public, period. There should not be a person sleeping on public property.
I think it's horrifying. I was homeless at the age of 16, and if it weren't for, the kindness of somebody putting me up in housing, I could have been arrested here in Miami Beach.
We don't focus on arrests, like people are saying. What we focus on is connecting with people. We approach it from a position of empathy.
The initiative is a month-long event. Police say 3 people have been arrested in the murder of Jacksonville rapper Julio Fulio. Fulio, whose real name was Charles Jones II, was shot and killed outside of a hotel in Tampa on June 23rd. He was there celebrating his 26th birthday. 3 other people were also hurt in that shooting. Retail giant Target is offering customers a recycling discount just in time for that back-to-school shopping. From August 4th through the 10th, you can bring in used denim to any Target store and receive a 20% off coupon for new denim. The recycling is limited to 5 used items of any brand in the store. The move is part of a growing consumer interest in reducing waste.
Our appetite for fast fashion is greater than ever. There's more brands, there's more incentives. The algorithms are giving right into our need to fit into trends. Yeah. But I do think that people are more aware of what's happening, and so they are asking the brands to start doing a little bit better, and so that maybe we can all work together to have a more sustainable fashion industry.
Target previously had a car seat trade-in program. It's not clear how the retailer plans to recycle the denim. That's CBS News Miami's Quickcast. I'm Lauren Pastrana. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS Miami.